So this is my Medaka tank. It's got guppies in it as well, because we tried to save some from the downstairs tank that got into the filter, and baby catfish, which we've bred as well. They were up here so their parents didn't eat them, and they're doing really well in here, quite old enough to go now. And this video is about how we breed our Medakas, or how we raise the fry. In front of you can see this big white one here. Where is she? She goes there. This is one of the ones that's breeding and one of the oldest in the tank. All the others are younger. Now, for the last few mornings, I've been seeing what I think are the 3 females, the white ones, with eggs. They've all had eggs, and I made up my mind to do this video, catch some eggs, raise them so you guys could see how I do it. And every morning, they have eluded me. As soon as I turn the light on, they dart round the back of all this moss, deposit the eggs, and I've lucked out. But this morning I was wise and I managed to catch one of the females. Sorry, I've lost a bit of focus. I managed to catch one of the females who had at the time just a couple of eggs. She's now looking like she's got about 6 to 10 eggs, and I've put her in this tub here. I know the lighting's probably not great because it's quite a strong light from the tub. This white female in front of me is actually the one with the eggs. Hopefully you can see at the back there that she's still carrying the eggs. We've been waiting for her to drop these all day so I can release her back into the tank. There is also a male in there, a silver male. He's at the top looking fed up. There he is, just at the top. And I put him in there because I didn't know if the eggs were fertilised when I put her in there. Just try and get that a bit clearer, sorry. Hopefully you can see all those eggs at the back. So once those eggs have disappeared, I will let her back into the main tank, and I will go through the moss that's in there very carefully and see if I can find the eggs, and then I'll show you how we hatch them. We might repeat the process in the morning. We'll see who's got eggs and who hasn't. But I think I've been seeing one of the females, thinking one of the females has eggs, and it's been all 3 of them at different times throughout the day. Oh, by the way, there's nothing wrong with her. She's just trying to get out of the tub, and she thought head diving was the best way. She's been doing it since I put her in there. The male did it too, but he's given up. He's just sat at the top. So this is how we set up the breeding pots if we've got eggs. And this is just a plastic pot held onto the side of the tank with a clip. This keeps the light and the water very similar conditions to the main tank. And that just stays on there. I usually try and keep the water level so it's touching the bottom of the pot, and that helps keep the water warm. And then I put some plants in it, moss or this frog bit that I've got here, and that just puts some organisms in the water so when the babies hatch they've got something to eat. I put meth blue, 1 drop of meth blue on the first day I put the eggs in. That helps ward off fungus. But after that, I never add any more. I do water changes and it kind of filters it out. There has been some sort of say that meth blue stops light getting to the eggs, and light is really important for Medaka eggs to hatch, and so is warmth. So I've pulled back the light so it doesn't go off focus. Apologies for the off focus, but my phone doesn't cope very well with changing to different things. And that's what our egg pots look like when we've got eggs on the side of the tank. If we need to move the fry, we use a big turkey baster to do it, but I don't like doing it unless I have to, because it can damage the fry, kill the fry. Even if you don't necessarily hurt them picking them up, it's the stress and the pressure and everything. So what I tend to do is use the turkey baster to pick up water from the pot, try and avoid the fish and the eggs. I put it into another pot to check I haven't got any, then I tip it away, and vice versa. I put clean water back in. So all the eggs were eyed up this morning, but you can see from the egg tank with the egg pot, that there's loads of like material in the bottom. This is where the eggs are starting to degrade, and it's really important you keep them clean at this point. So I've moved the eggs over to a clean tub, which I do quite regularly, and you can see they're all lined up. You can see the little eyes in them all. But over here, I don't know if I'm going to be able to focus in, but we do have a baby fish in here. He's really tiny and he's black, and it's going to be really hard to, there he is. I don't know if I can focus in. Hopefully you can see him swimming across. He's actually black at the moment. He will change colour, and he's swimming across. He's ready to eat now. Some Medaka eggs I've had, they've had an egg sac and they aren't ready to eat quickly, and they don't move as quick as this. But this particular variety that I breed, you know, very, very fast and ready to go. It's really, I'm going to put him over with the eggs at the moment, but it's really important to keep the tank clean. Our brine shrimp is still cooking. It's not ready yet because I wasn't expecting them today. So we'll use some powdered food, and also plenty of plants in the water. We'll give them microorganisms to eat for the first couple of days. Make sure you keep that water clean when you've got fry, and get them some baby brine shrimp in there as quick as possible. So, back with the Medakas. It's maybe 3 days since the last video, and we have loads of babies. Now in this particular tank, which is the one set up on my fish tank, we have about 6 babies. They're really hard to see. I haven't been able to zoom in very well, and I had to turn the light off because it was affecting the camera. I'll just see if I can locate one. There we go. One over here, look. He's eaten quite well today. They're on baby brine shrimp, and you can tell the ones that have eaten because their stomach looks pink, or like it's got a little sparkle to it. Usually pink. If they haven't eaten, they look quite thin and discoloured. This one here that I'm zooming in on now, he's got quite a pink stomach. He's eaten quite well. There's another one over here somewhere. I've put some more weed in. I've changed the water, and all's looking good. There's still eggs in the bottom of that tank. Now, if you remember for the last video, I said that I left the spawning mops in the other one in case I missed an egg. Well, fairly amusing, I missed quite a lot of eggs, because when I looked in there this morning, there must be like 20 babies in here. I'll just try and zoom in so you can have a good look. And this tank's very basic. I only put weed in it this morning. Stop the filter. Sorry, I'll get it in a minute. There we go. Stop the filter. And these guys have had brine shrimp as well this morning. But until then, I hadn't checked it for a couple of days because I didn't think there'd be any babies in here. It looks like they've all darted off. Let me try and spot one a minute. Here we go. And I was a bit surprised to open the lid and find 20 babies in here. Well, around 20 babies, all hatched from eggs I've missed. So they're quite happy. They're all swimming around. I put some brine shrimp in earlier. The one thing I'm worried about is this is quite a deep tub. Will they find the food? Will they eat it? Well, we'll find out. It'll be a bit of an experiment. I'll have a good close look at them in a minute and see if I can see if they've eaten. There will be lots of food in here from the weed, the pump, and the sand, so there will be things that will keep them alive for the time being, but hopefully they will pick up food. This one that's swimming near the edge of the tank here, he looks quite big, so he's definitely been eating something, but he doesn't particularly look like he's got brine shrimp in his stomach. So, you know, we'll have to see. We might have to lower the water level down just until they get the hang of it. That one there looks like he might have eaten. Always spot them from the eyes. The one over here, not sure about him. They develop a more triangular look to them once they've eaten. It's really important at this stage to keep on top of the water changes And the other thing is, you can go a few days with them being fine and then suddenly lose them because something's got into the water, or you've overfed them or underfed them. If you're going to put live food in, always be aware you've got to change the water the next day, and don't overfeed them. Better to underfeed them than overfeed them. I also put the smallest sprinkling in of the dry food in case that helped one of them, or a smaller one that couldn't catch the brine shrimp. The brine shrimp will live for about 3 or 4 hours in here, and they will gravitate towards the light as well. And that's where you'll find them hunting the brine shrimp. And they do hunt them at this stage. When they lunge very fast, usually they've gone after something to eat. They also lunge at each other, and that's a normal Medaka thing. Don't worry about that. So after about a week, they're pretty stable and eating the brine shrimp, and you'll get into the pattern of knowing you've got to clean them. The sooner you can get them into an environment where they're out of the tub and into something more fish-like, like a tub like this, the better. But I've never tried having them in such a deep tank. But if you think about it, if they were in the wild or they're in a pond outside, which they're often successful in, that would be quite deep. So, you know, they will find food, they'll get on with it. Let's see if these turn out to be platinums, you know, who knows. I think they probably are. They always have a different colour when they're this age, so they camouflage in. They never look like what they're going to be as adults, and they don't really get their colours until they're about 2 months, 3 months old. They tend to look quite pale and colourless until they suddenly start to mature. But that's how we breed our baby Medakas here. And, you know, have a go. I had to do quite a bit of experimenting before we got to this stage, and quite a lot of the advice out there I found didn't help me. So this is the breeding tank. It's just a basic kids goldfish tank. It's got a filter in it, but it's not on at the moment, and it's got a couple of spawning mops. There's some frog bit on the top and some sand in the bottom. It's fairly dirty because well, it just leaf degrade, plant degrades. We do water changes on this one to keep the babies happy. Um, and it's basic, very basic, but it does the job. And although we've never done the fry this deep before, they seem to be doing really well. And I suspect they're eating a lot of like debris from the filter pump, because it's got a lot of bugs and stuff in. I'm just going to open the top. Might be able to see some of the fry. There's the parents behind the big tank. Not all of the Medaka are in there, just a few. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to see the babies today. they're just down there. Sorry for the bad focusing, guys. The phone plays up quite a bit. You can see they're getting really big now, probably about 2 weeks old now. You can see the sparkly eyes. Japanese Medaka usually have a blue sparkly eye. There are some Medakas that don't, but the ones that we generally get from Japan always do. It's a lovely one coming across there. Another one here. Lots of bubbles on the tank. And a bit of food. I'll also show you the powdered food I'm feeding them. This came with one lot of eggs. They generally, the people that send the eggs send some food with them. And it's just a very fine powder. Very, very fine. And as said, they some of the fry will eat the powder, but quite often these guys eat insects normally when they're outside, so quite often they need something to move to trigger them to eat. And the biggest ones will learn to take the flake and other things that are not moving in the tank, but some of the younger ones will never start eating, and they'll just die off if you don't use baby brine shrimp. And they grow a lot faster on baby brine shrimp, they really do. For 2 weeks old, these guys are amazing. Yeah, and we've also got some fry in the main tank. I'll try and get you a picture of those. When I was feeding them this morning, there must have been about 8 small fry in the tank. Now some of these are guppy fry. We moved a lot of the guppies out of here, but they had babies just before we moved them out, wouldn't you know it. But some of them are Medakas. And I believe we did have some small Medakas we moved over from the tank before we started doing the breeding project. But I believe some of these are Medakas that are swimming around, like this little gold one in front of me here. That's definitely a Medaka baby, it's not a guppy. This grey one here, I think, is a guppy that's going along here. But when you look at them front on, the guppies have the black eyes. We don't have a thermometer in here to keep it up to temperature, but the room is generally very warm, so the Coreodorus and the guppies do really well in here. We have a UV filter on the pump as well, and you can see there's every colour Medaka in there except a bright red. Out the back in the garden, I'll try and get you some footage of the ones that are outside. We've got some blues and some darker colours. Now these guys outside, they don't really need feeding. There's so many insects and stuff in the water, they don't need it. There's loads of flake I've just put in. They usually come up and see me quite easily. And these guys grow really fast out here. Usually there's something over the top to protect them from anything taking them, and to protect them from anything getting in. But it does get very murky out here. I'm doing a lot of water changes on this one at the moment. There's also some minnow in the bottom. They're the fast ones swimming around at the base. But usually after a few minutes they all come over. They've got no fear of people really. And there's about 20 in this tank, all of them juveniles.